is part of me that is starting to creep in and it's getting louder than before, and I wanted to ignore it. The pessimistic Pirate fans who would say things like, well, what difference does it make? Paul Skenes isn't going to be here very long. Enjoy him while you can, blah, 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 blah. But I'm actually thinking even more about that now because of the unsettled situation that the Pirates have after the Shelton firing. If we think that Ben Cherington is out the door sooner rather than later and probably won't be the Pirates GM at this time next year, how is that guy going to view Paul Skenes? Is he going to look at him as the guy that he's going to win with in the next 3 years, 4 years, or is he going to look at him as maybe the guy that you deal and he brings you so many potentially good players back that that's how you accelerate the Pirates' clock to win again?
A GM taking over the job for Ben Cherington would see Paul Skenes as a tradable asset more than as a franchise cornerstone.
So that's how you think about it.
I think if
that's
there is a
reasonable.
GM
I hate
switch,
to say it,
well,
but
because
I think that is.
any GM taking this job knows that this is not a team that's going to sign Paul Skenes to a market value deal that eats into his free agency and makes him a cornerstone piece. That doesn't happen. It wouldn't happen in Cleveland, to be fair. It wouldn't happen in Tampa Bay. It wouldn't happen any place like this. So if you're taking over the job and you look at what a wasteland, theoretically, Ben Cherington is leaving you, there's no way you could look at Paul Skenes already having pitched 2 full seasons, knowing you've got to trade him before he hits free agency, and look at him as anything other than an asset, as opposed to a building block.
And think about it from Skenes' perspective. He's no dummy. He's super smart. We praise him for his cerebral approach to pitching, even though he's a guy with the best stuff in the sport, that he's a thinking man's pitcher. He's not a thrower of the baseball. He's a true pitcher. Mm-hmm. He cares about the craft. He cares about the business. He cares about winning. I mean, if they do blow it up at the end of the year, Paul's going to be, I think, smart enough to recognize that this isn't an overnight fix.
I think
they're basically starting over again.
I think he knows that now. I think he's smart enough to see, even if he'll never admit it, how bad the roster is around him.
So even if the GM's inclination might be, or the GM has to have the inclination to keep him because the owner wants him to, because the owner looks at Skenes as an attraction and somebody that people want to go watch pitch, Skenes might already think of it after 2 years. I'm just wasting time here. I'm just counting down the days.
The only thing I could imagine that would be appealing about being on the Pirates in any way is I think they still completely leave him alone for the most part. I know Jason Mackey hypothesized that the arm angle drop, I'm getting in the weeds here very briefly, was maybe a team mandated approach. I've come to think actually that no, he's still just left to his own devices almost exclusively, that the pitch to contact and be more efficient stuff really is Paul Skenes acting in what he thinks is Paul Skenes' best interest. Being completely left alone by the coaching staff and like being allowed to fully chart your own path other than obviously how bad the team is around you might be appealing. Like you go to another place, they sign you to a huge deal. There are obligations and certain like off-field expectations maybe that come with that. Or if you go to the Dodgers, they want their people to do it their way or something. Granted, their way is a lot better. But I'm kind of just struggling here to play devil's advocate to myself as to what he could still find as a silver lining about being here. Because already he's got to be getting beaten down.